Sunday Morning on CBS. Here again is Jane Pauley.
That's a tune from the Go-Go's, the all-woman band that's played just about everywhere on the globe. Now their music is going to be heard on Broadway. With Tracy Smith, let's catch their act.
Here it is. Take it in. Did you look out here? It's your Broadway theater.
The Go-Go's, the barrier-breaking 1980s hitmakers, have stood on a lot of stages, but never this one.
Barbara was on this stage,
Barbara
too.
Barbara who?
Barbara Streisand, remember her?
They're in Streisand territory because the Go-Go's phenomenon has come to Broadway. They actually don't appear in the new musical comedy Head Over Heels.
Head over heels, where should I go?
But some years ago, a Broadway producer thought it'd be a great idea to artfully insert Go-Go's songs into an Elizabethan-era story. About a royal family and a prophecy that could spell their doom.
And just to clarify, this is not your life stories.
No.
Yes, thank you for clarifying that.
We were not born in the 1580s.
Even though sometimes we might feel like it. No.
They may feel that way because they've done this walk from the dressing room to the stage hundreds, maybe thousands of times.
We're all really good at doing this. You know, we are really, really good at being Go-Go's.
On and off for 40 years now, these women get together to show why the Go-Go's have been called one of the most successful all-female bands in the history of rock and roll.
When you're up on stage looking out at the audience, what do you see?
Grandparents, parents, kids.
What's that like?
It's thrilling, you know, that our music has that kind of appeal.
That's not the way it began in 1978, when Belinda Carlisle and Jane Wiedlin decided, somewhat naively, to form a group.
We came from the punk rock scene in LA, where anything went and you could learn as you went along, and we had no idea how to play our instruments or do anything.
We were absolutely rotten when we started.
Here's what they sounded like in an early rehearsal. Rough, maybe, but enough to attract other members who'd actually played music before. Drummer Gina Schock, who missed our interview because of surgery, bassist Caffey Valentine, and guitarist Charlotte Caffey.
You were trained in classical piano.
Yeah, and so I was a little scared of them, but it was kind of exciting. They were the cool girls that were punky, and I was kind of more like, you know, reserved and straight, kind of.
It's hard to imagine now, but in their early days, the Go-Go's each made about $40 a week.
How many proverbial doors were slammed in your faces?
Every door.
Every door.
All the record executives were telling you,
Well, they wouldn't sign us because we were women, or girls. We were girls then.
But the girls did make it happen. We Got the Beat became the Go-Go's first hit in England and then in the United States. Like almost all of their music, it was written, arranged, and performed by all women.
what did that do to have it be all female?
I think it emboldened us. I mean, especially the five of us, we've always said, like, we're this five-headed monster. When we're together, it's like this ball of energy that can be a force for good or a force for evil.
Truth is, underneath all the fun and fizz was something a little more serious. You can hear it in Our Lips Are Sealed.
Now that song in particular has it's upbeat, but if you listen to the lyrics...
Yeah, that's a kind of a go-go trademark that we always make an effort not to make something like 100% happy or 100% sad. We like to mix things together to keep things more interesting.
of dark against happiness, you know, it's really, I love it.
And the same goes for their 1982 hit, Vacation. The video seems happy-go-lucky until you look a little closer.
That video, that was like a 14-hour shoot, and we were so bored and miserable that we all started drinking, and they filmed the close-up,
For a change.
you know, yeah, to do something different. No, you know what, this part in the video where it looks like we're on the skis, and we were so drunk by then. If you like look at our eyes, we're all like.
And while they all seemed chummy at this People magazine photo shoot a few weeks ago, the band's history hasn't been so happy-go-lucky either. Medical problems, drug and alcohol abuse, and several knockdown, drag-out breakups.
For the past, we would always keep hurting each other and then keep forgiving each other and then healing and then trying to grow, and that's how I feel that we all are at this point.
Just think, a group of sisters who can be extremely close, but at the same time, light years apart.
There's been times where we're in the dressing room throwing stuff at each other.
You guys literally have thrown stuff at each other.
Yeah, a couple of times. I think somebody got hit once, you know. There's a lot of conflicting energy, but somehow out of all of that, something stays very intact and still works very well. There's always a little eye in the hurricane that stays really nice, you know, and special.
They do get along well enough to still play as a band. Recently, to the surprise of the audience, the Go-Go's performed on stage with the Head Over Heels cast. While they can cross Broadway off their bucket list, the Go-Go's still have one more mountain to climb.
A lot of your fans think that there is a grave injustice that you guys are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
You can't take away the fact that we were the very first successful all-female band who wrote all their own songs and played all their own instruments.
Hall of Fame honors or not, when you're a go-go, it just doesn't seem right to stop.
So in 10 years, 15 years, if the right opportunity comes along, the Go-Go's could be on stage again together.
And all the record companies will say, there's never been an all-grandmother band before.
There you go.
Grandmother
And
band.
there's your ticket to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
And they'll let us in.